the starters from the 2018 Game 2 Cavaliers-Raptors matchup in the playoffs in 2018. I fired off DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. Jonas Valanciunas had to have been on that team. You want to give me the other two starters from Toronto?
The other two?
Yeah.
You want me to say them?
Yes.
I think I give one clue. One's on the Knicks right now.
One's on the Knicks. OG.
That is correct. Yeah, and Serge Ibaka.
Okay. I with enough time, I would have probably gotten there. I needed that clue with the OG Anunoby. April 21st. Who was the first American to win the U.S. Open golf tournament? Think about it for a second. Happy birthdays to Joe McCarthy, 1887. Gary Peters, 1937. Jesse Orozco, 1957. Ed Belfour, 1965. Tony Romo, 1980. And the answer to that question is Philadelphia native John J. McDermott Jr. in 1911 at the Chicago Golf Club in Wheaton, Illinois. He was only 19.
Good old Johnny J.
Johnny J. McDermott. They called him Johnny McBuckets or Johnny McCuppets. Anyway, what a terrible thing to go out on. I apologize, America. This has been Sports Overnight America. Stay tuned for more.
I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning. The Mets stink. Have you heard this one, America? The New York Mets and their nearly $400 million payroll are dead last, not just in the National League East or even the National League. Their 7 wins are the fewest in all of baseball, and they haven't celebrated one since April 7th. The Mets' 12-game losing streak is their longest since 2022, and the team is suffering its worst April since its infamous expansion year of 1962. And even though there's still literally 85% of the season left to go, people want heads to roll. Manager Carlos Mendoza, president of baseball ops David Stearns, reliever Devin Williams. People want one of those men, if not all three, thrown out of the door. But Williams isn't going anywhere except into maybe a setup role for Craig Kimbrell, which, I mean, at this point in Kimbrell's career, it would probably be temporary. And Mets owner Steve Cohen is not getting rid of David Stearns, at least not before the end of the season. Really hard to see him suddenly changing his decorum and way of doing business, which does improve the odds for Carlos Mendoza, a Stearns hire, to at least get through both this series with the Twins and the next with the White Sox. But if the Mets do want to send a message, it should probably start with the hitting coaches. The Mets have 3 hitting coaches in uniform right now, I believe. At least 2 are. Doesn't matter, there's 3 of them. Main hitting coach Troy Snitker has said several times that the team knows what it's doing wrong and is doing everything they can to fix it. But considering the established hitters on this team, something is way out of whack. And before I go off there, it should be noted that the Mets have been without Juan Soto since April 4th. Whether he comes back on Wednesday or sometime this week, just his presence will improve the situation. But even with Soto, the Mets offense was still at the bottom of the barrel. And it's the barrel of the bat that's been a big issue, as no one besides Francisco Alvarez is excelling at using it. 7 regulars in the lineup have put the ball on the ground 50% of the time or more. As a result, the Mets are dead last in extra base hits with 49, and their 259 total bases are one away from being dead last in that category too. Bo Bichette, Brett Beatty, and others are chasing pitches out of the strike zone, and when they're not doing that, they're swinging late. It's led to the team collectively hitting only .222, drawing only 67 walks as opposed to striking out 186 times. I don't root for people to lose their jobs, and I'm not calling for it, as the Mets hitting pays no bills in my house, but I also know how sports work, and sometimes messages get sent, because it's easier to fire 1 than fire 26. And I think if the Mets are going to make a move, starting there as opposed to Mendoza or Stearns may be more productive. Tonight, the Mets will deploy their other high spot of the season, not named Nolan McLean, right-hander Clay Holmes in his 1.96 ERA. He'll face a rookie southpaw making his major league debut named Connor Prelip, who replaces an injured Mick Abel. Soto or not, Godspeed to Mets fans if he can't pull this one out. I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning.
Have you been daydreaming about losing weight for years? Do you just yo-yo back and forth? At Innovative Wellness Center, we have a holistic weight loss program that allows you to lose up to 20 pounds in 30 days. People are losing weight like crazy and keeping it off. It can be done from anywhere in the United States. Go to our website at www.innovativewellness.center and schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Soccer season rolls on here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. This is Tyler Levine, host of First Touch, the premier weekly global soccer show across the entire Sports Byline broadcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Simple Radio, and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We're talking English Premier League, Champions League, our picks of the week, and a whole lot more. First Touch on Sports Byline USA Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Getting together with friends to watch the game? Then you'll need American Premium Vodka. Handcrafted and pure, this is the one thing all Americans can agree on. Founder Mark Gus Scott chose the finest natural elements America has to offer, and you'll taste how great it is to be an American. Now available at Bevmo, GoPuff, Hy-Vee, and Fairway stores. American Premium Vodka. This is the America we need right now. Go to AmericanPremiumVodka.com. Celebrate responsibly.
Quick question. How many calls, texts, or messages does your business miss every week? Nights, weekends, busy days. That's lost money. Create Assistance helps businesses fix that problem using AI employees that answer calls, respond to texts, book appointments, and follow up with leads 24/7 automatically. No extra staff, no complicated software. Everything runs inside one simple command center that replaces scattered tools, missed follow-ups, and manual busywork. Whether you're a service business, office, or multi-location company, Create Assistance keeps your business responsive, organized, and running even when you're off the clock. Stop letting leads slip through the cracks. Visit createassistance.ai to book a free call. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
It was the Roman poet Virgil who said, "Easy is the descent to hell. All night long, all day, the doors of dark Hades stand open. But to retrace the path, to come out again to the sweet air of heaven, there is the task, there is the burden. If I cannot move heaven, I will raise hell." We'll talk about that later, but now it's time for Rick Tittle and titillating sports on Sports Byline USA. All right, thank you for that, and welcome to a Hump Day edition of Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. That's me, you're you, we're talking sports. We're talking sports at the toll-free line. 1-800-878-PLAY. Don't write it down, dial it up. 1-800-878-7529 will get you in and get you heard. We have one filmmaker coming on the show in the first hour. Sara Dosa is back. She's been nominated for an Oscar and a BAFTA. The second hour, we will have a TR book, Tyrannosaurus Rex, from an author in Ireland. We'll talk to Michael Patrick Cullinane. And then in the third hour, we will have a guy who's in the Cable Hall of Fame. Yes, there is such a thing. Curtis Symonds will join us. Other than that, it's just me and you. Get on in and get heard. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, tennis, auto racing, boxing, Olympics, rollerball, chess, checkers, rugby, cricket, that type of stuff. And we are on the eve of the Driz Naft. That's right. The draft, baby. Come on in. What's your team going to do? Who's going to choke? Who's going to get fired? What is the ideal pick for your team? What is the stupid pick for your team? Because a lot of teams will do it. We're on the TuneIn app, the iHeartRadio app, the Stitcher app, and we're also on Twitch.tv and YouTube streaming along. There I am with my reading glasses, super hot. 1-800-878-7529. All right, also around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. If you are in the military, you're doing a great job. Stay safe, come home soon, keep up the good work. Also, TuneIn app, iHeartRadio app, Stitcher app. Emails rick@sportsbyline.com. Twitter, Rick Tittle. Come on back.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I went to Staples for a custom printed graduation banner and invites and saw that Party City is now at Staples.
Wait, what?
Party City is now at Staples.
So now Staples has balloons?
Yep.
Decorations?
Yes.
Streamers, scarves, table covers?
Yep, Staples has everything for a party. And now buy two, get one free on select balloons.
Holy confetti! So the best party started Staples.
That was easy.
In 613 select stores, exclusions apply. Store or buy online, pick up in store only.
This important consumer alert is from the Credit Repair Hotline, a national service designed to help people improve their credit scores. Are you paying high interest rates because of your credit rating? Wouldn't you like to be able to qualify for a better car loan or mortgage rate? Would lower monthly payments give you more financial flexibility? You're finally ready to fix your credit problem. You need to call today and get a free consultation from the Credit Repair Hotline. In one fast and easy call, we can pull your credit rating and show you real solutions how to improve your credit. And again, this is part of a 100% free consultation. Learn how you can save money on everyday purchases by having a better credit rating. And it all starts with this free phone call right now.
800-413-6214. 800-413-6214. 800-413-6214. That's 800-413-6214.
Have you suffered sports betting losses? There is someone who wants to fight for you to see you get back what you have lost to those sports betting companies. Michael Watts is a prolific trial lawyer with over $11 million in total recoveries for his clients. And now with sportsbettingclaim.com, he'd like to help you. Michael has been a leader in some of the largest and most complex cases in the country, from defective cars and tires to damaging drugs and medical products. He has always represented the rights of individuals harmed by large corporations. His efforts recently resulted in the recovery of billions for individuals who lost their properties to fires carelessly caused by electric companies and others. Michael knows that sports betting companies preyed on and manipulated consumers into losing their life savings, and he wants to make them pay. If you have suffered financial hardship as a result of online sport betting and would like help seeking compensation, please submit your claim information for evaluation at sportsbettingclaim.com. Michael Watts is focused on winning for you. sportsbettingclaim.com.
Hi, Flo here from Progressive. You know, life changes quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, you mean like adding another vehicle?
Yes, something we can do.
Great, because I was thinking about getting a van so we could just keep the kids' softball stuff in the car.
Oh, we don't need to get into specifics. Just saying it's easy to change.
And Hannah wants to try the tuba.
Again, we don't need the specifics.
Last year, she wanted to be a tap dancer, but that only lasted 2 lessons.
Okay.
But she kept the shoes because they are adorable.
Well, just know that Progressive, you can easily add another car to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company.
Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle is a genius, the best show ever. He's so wonderful, genius, the best show ever. He's so wonderful. Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle he's so handsome. He's a genius.
You're now listening to the Rick Tittle Show. Good for you.
Thanks for that. Welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. Coming up next, filmmaker Sara Dosa, a Bay Area kid, will join us. I'm on Twitch.tv and YouTube, as I mentioned, and Twitch has a chat feature where and YouTube does too. But I get a lot of chats that are just automatically spam. And I get in a related issue, I get 2 phone calls every day, 2 to 3 phone calls every day from every state in the union. It just changes, and it says possible spam. You know, I cancel it. I block the call. It leaves the message, hi, this is, and it's some fake name. Personal loan has been approved. I would love to know who sold my phone number. But then again, we give out our phone number so much. Somebody sold it. And it's just going to town. And I block everyone, report it. It doesn't matter. It keeps coming. Anyway, I just bring this up because on Twitch, right when I put it on like 10 minutes ago, as soon as I hit refresh chat, in other words, delete everything, this thing keeps coming back. I just want to read it to you because it's pretty hilarious. It's all caps, so it's shouting. Hey, you're doing an awesome job on your stream. It's super fun to watch. I'm a big fan and noticed your channel deserves more viewers. I know a Twitch broadcaster who helps streamers grow with real followers, chatters, and subs. If you're interested, contact blank, blank, blank. Wow, he says he's doing a great job. He's a big fan. I'm humbled. All right. And the thing is, as soon as I hit refresh, it's just going to pop up again. All right, this world. It's fine. I saw this video. It said logging on to anything in 2026. And it was the word in, and then it has the picture. Click every picture that has a bridge or a bicycle or a stop sign in it. Prove you're not a robot. Point the mouse in this direction. All the stupid things we do. And then it showed like a million almonds, and it said click where there's nuts, and he clicked all and said no, those are seeds. And then it showed a crowd of 1,000 people, and it's pick possible people who might be gay in the crowd. It's just, but that is the world we live in now. All right. First world problems. The draft is tomorrow, and there is a rule change that I love. And I don't need to ask you, you love it too. And that is first round picks have gone from 10 minutes to 8 minutes. I just found this out this morning. For a while there, they were 15 minutes. And it sucked. Did I sit through all those? Damn right. I sat through all of those. And even if you had Troy Aikman on the board and you knew you were going to take him, you had to wait the full 15 minutes because at 14 minutes and 45 seconds, you get a call where they'd say, well, we'll give you our 5 first-round picks. No one would just make the trade. Make the pick. And so 10 minutes is too long. 8 minutes is too long. It should really be 5 for the first round and 2 for every other round. And if you're not ready, the Minnesota Vikings pass. I'll never forget that. The Minnesota Vikings pass. If you ain't ready and you don't get to pick, if you've hired too many bozos in your war room to argue, okay, let's take a vote. You don't want a democracy in times like that. You need somebody where the buck is going to stop. And that person might be a buffoon. And we've seen it probably 2/3 of the time. Can't be, well, what about you? You have those discussions months at a time. And I remember watching a Hard Knocks on the Cowboys like 3 times. And that's when Zimmer was the defensive coordinator. And he wanted to have a corner, and somebody's like, no, he won't start. Then Zimmer's like, he will start in a couple years. You can put him on special teams. And they're like, nah, we don't have time for this guy. And it was a loud, vehement, huge argument. Gee, damn it, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't want that guy. I want that guy. And those are real discussions, and they should be had, and people should say what they mean, and that's when you should hash it out. You don't do it on draft day. Now, you have to stay flexible. As I said, you don't let the big board draft, but you say, all right, the hardest part of the draft for me would be if this guy's gone, now what does our board look like? And that's when the panic ensues because they don't plan for that. They should hire me as a consultant. Genius.com. That's my website. Is it really, Rick? And that is, what if Crabtree or Aaron Rodgers or Brock Bowers falls into our lap? And those teams drafted them, Niners, Packers, Raiders, respectively. You have to have that. So 8 minutes. Now, some will say this could be cats and dogs living together. And Steelers GM Omar Khan was asked about it. He said, I'd love to have 10 minutes, but hey, it's the same for everybody else, so 8 minutes. It is what it is. Now, why would this even have an impact? Why would it cause chaos? Well, for a trade to happen, a team on the clock has to be willing to find a trade partner. Duh. And after that, they have to hammer out the details of the deal. And then they have to contact the NFL. Remember, it used to be faxes. And they said the Niners were too late trading T.O. to Baltimore. Wait. No, they got the fax in. But I thought they traded him to Philly. No, Baltimore. Well, I guess it is Philly. Okay. So after the team that makes the new trade, and they're on the clock, and they don't get a refreshed clock. So, yeah, you make it with 2 minutes left, you got 2 minutes. And that's why these teams use their entire 10-minute allotment. I have no sympathy for them. The shorter negotiation window. And Khan pointed that out. They've already been talking. He said, we've been having maybe more conversations than we normally do just to set up the parameters of what would be necessary and value if you move up in this spot or trade back. And I think there's going to be more conversation. But until we get there, I am not sure how that's going to go. By the way, last year, only 4 first-round picks were traded on draft night. If a team runs out of time, ask the 2003 Minnesota Vikings. As I said, we pass. The Vikings went on the clock at 7th overall. 7th overall. And they passed, and then the Jags turned in their pick, Byron Leftwich. And then the Vikings passed again, and the Panthers came in, and the Vikings finally drafted Kevin at 9th overall. Can you imagine that? You have the 7th overall pick, and you can't make up your mind, and you end up drafting 9th? Yikes. So the opening round last year, Thursday night, took just under 4 hours. 3 hours and 50 minutes. Now, it could actually be even longer because they might add in more commercials. I don't know. But just to let you know, in 2007, the record when it was 15 minutes, the first round took 6 hours. The first round took 6 hours. So 350 seems a lot less. But yeah, minutes. The pick is in. All right, let's go to a break. Come back. Sara Dosa.
Like the legend of Phoenix, ends with beginnings. What keeps the planet spinning? The force from the beginning.
This is a true, sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. one you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. That's 800-361-3491.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-853-8931. 800-853-8931. 800-853-8931. That's 800-853-8931.
I'm an American veteran. I'm proud to have served this country. Helping veterans is something all Americans can participate in, and it's as simple as donating an old car that you have sitting around. When you call the Veteran Car Donation Program, they'll explain how their program works, and then arrange a time they can come and pick up your vehicle for free. Running or not, it doesn't matter. They take cars, trucks, motorcycles, or vans. Show your support by donating your car and get a tax deduction in the process. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program right now. They'll come and pick your car up for free, and you'll get a tax deduction in the process. Call the number we're about to give you right now. Thank you, and God bless America.
800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. That's 800-887-1097.
I'm not in to be a movie critic. Maybe I could be a food critic. These muffins taste bad. Or an art critic. Painting is bad.
Why can't you say you talk to me? You're already thinking about someone else. When it comes home, your bed is on and I'll be gone. But I know my day will come. I know someday I'll be the only one. So now you wait for a spark.
I'm so disgusted by Rick Tittle that I find him very intoxicating.
All right, thank you for that, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It's our pleasure to welcome back to the show award-winning filmmaker Sara Dosa. She has a brand new doc from Nat Geo entitled Time and Water. It will be screening at the 69th San Francisco International Film Festival at the Premier Theater this Saturday at 12:30 p.m., so you want to make sure you get out there for that. Sara, welcome back to the show, and your last film, Fire of Love, was so well received, and BAFTA and Oscar nominations and Directors Guild Awards, and so we've all been waiting for the next project, and it's been a few years. Why was this one set in Iceland, the follow-up for you?
Well, first, just thank you so much for having me back on the show. It's a real joy to be here. Time and Water was the next one I really wanted to do after Fire of Love because I was so captivated by the story. Briefly, it's the story of an Icelandic writer named Andri who is tasked with writing a eulogy for a glacier, which seems like such a strange thing. In Iceland, glaciers, form the landscape there. They're the ice of Iceland, yet they're disappearing at an increasingly rapid rate. And so for Andri, as a writer, he's really tasked with saying goodbye to this thing that he never thought he could lose. For me, it seems like a story that could help to just articulate the changes that so many of us are confronted with right now, whether it's the climate crisis or changes in our personal lives. So I was really touched by he, as a writer, could kind of bring these questions and this conundrum to life. And then the backdrop of Iceland as this majestic landscape was just so inspiring as a filmmaker. Plus, his family had just generations of incredible archival material that we got to work with as a filmmaking team. So for us, it was just a joy that also could really help to illuminate kind of what so many of us are going through right now.
It's interesting, too, how you have this keen eye for humanity with nature and the romance of it and how it comes together. And I know a lot of us, especially in the Western world, where the way we were raised, we're out of touch with that stuff. I think that's why a lot of people are fascinated by Native Americans and how they see nature. And the other thing I think is interesting is, like, especially with Fire and Love, you can take something that's amazing but also tragic, what happened to the crafts, and yet still have an optimistic view. And I think that's one of your talents as a filmmaker, because anybody could make a doc saying, hey, they checked out this lava and they died. You know, how do you add in those things as your experience as a filmmaker?
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for that. That's really kind of you to say. I think I feel endlessly inspired by the people who are in the films that I make. In Fire of Love, the crafts, Katya and Maurice Kraft, our volcanologists, they just led this extraordinary life. They knew that it was likely that they would die in a volcanic eruption, so much so that they really kind of believed that if they did their job properly, they probably would die, because they were confronting these dangerous forces, and it was their job to get as close to them as possible. And so by living this life, it was almost like the idea of death kind of brought their life meaning. They had to live it to its absolute fullest. And so I think you're right. It's not a sad story in that way, even though they did ultimately perish, because it shows kind of the lived philosophy and what it means to live such a meaningful life. In Time and Water, you know, it's a story about a death of a glacier. And about a man and a family contending with the changes that feel so surreal, even though they're often changes that we confront day to day as a human. But I think the way that Andrea, or the person, the character at the center of the film, kind of navigates these changes with humor, with a sense of kind of like really grappling kind of with the losses of the landscapes, but also the beauty and the power of home. That really inspires me. And so I think that it can allow a way of kind of tempering the more kind of devastating elements that so many of us are experiencing these days, by putting some humanity, you know, into the story, so to speak. And I feel so lucky to get to work in the cinematic form that, you know, can invite so many people to experience these worlds as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, well said. And the cinematic form, I mean, Iceland, what a canvas. I mean, there's no place like it on Earth. Just, I was thinking about the story is one thing, but how about the cinematography? You were spoiled for choices, weren't you?
We were so spoiled for choices, yes. Iceland is extraordinary. There's volcanoes, there's glaciers, there's the ocean. It's really one of the most majestic places I've ever had the privilege to go. And we were so lucky to work with an extraordinary cinematographer named Pablo Alvarez Mesa, who just, I feel like he's in tune with water in this profound way. He could really feel the fog. He could feel the ocean. He could feel the movement of the glaciers themselves. So we were so lucky to get to collaborate with him. We were also working with Andri's family's archive, and his grandparents were some of the first ever to film Iceland's glaciers. And they looked tragically different then than they do now. Through his grandparents' camera, you know, they were these endless ice masses that truly seemed eternal. And for us, you know, we were so moved by the power of seeing the glaciers when we were filming there ourselves, but we really perceived the precarity of them too, how they're melting so quickly. So to have that contrast of the past and the present, it was something for us to really reckon with as we were making the film.
No, it's a great word, too, because the precarious nature of when we hear things like, well, if the Earth's average temperature goes up 1 degree, San Francisco will be 10 feet underwater. And we're like, what? So when when you look at these glaciers in Iceland, and then you take Andre, and you, as you said, his grandparents passing on, and he's dealing with that. I don't think anybody else would know to take the glacier melting and then sort of marry that to the loss of family, and then the culture of a native person. It'd be one thing for us as Americans to go and say, isn't this a shame? But it just works 1,000 times better with someone who's there and grew up with it, right?
I think that Andre's lived experience in Iceland and his family's history going back many generations, and really to the first Icelanders when they arrived, about 1,200 years ago, to this volcanic island that was uninhabited by humans. His family legacy, goes all the way back. And so to have these stories that have coursed through his family line and reached him in the present day, it's so meaningful. It's something that I think, so many people can relate to. It's like, what are the meaningful stories, the memories that have shaped us, whether they come from our grandparents or our community members. And that's an aspect right now of the climate crisis that I think is something to contend with, is we're losing our landscapes. There's, ecological violence that so many people are experiencing. And there's the loss of all of these knowledges that are embedded in the landscapes, in glaciers themselves, for example, but also in the elders that we're losing, too. Of course, all humans do die, but looking to the ways that we can preserve the cultural knowledge that we inherit from our elders and bring them into the future, I think that can help to create a world where there's a sense of hope that certain things can survive amid this sometimes cataclysmic feeling change.
Yeah, it's funny when I hear people say, well, the Earth is getting ready to spit out the human race. The dinosaurs lasted, millions of years longer than we did. 200,000 years ago, we were in caves, and I said, it's not so much the Earth spitting us out, but us killing ourselves with making the Earth spit us out. So before I let you go, I got about a minute. Tell us about Signpost Pictures, which you are the co-founder of, because I know it deals with stuff like this.
Oh, sure. Yes. So Signpost Pictures is a little documentary company that I founded with my dear collaborators, Shane Boris, Elijah Stevens, Jamaica Autry, and Natalia Fuentes. And Time and Water is a production of Signpost Pictures. I think the focus for us is really telling stories of how humans are grappling with and making meaning with more than human nature, whether it's our volcanoes, our glaciers, or perhaps, San Francisco's fog. I think that we're immersed in elements all around us, even if they're abiotic. They don't necessarily seem alive. We can understand that they possess a kind of life force, and by doing so, see how interconnected we are with our landscapes. So those are the kind of stories we like to focus on, and Time and Water is definitely an example of that.
Well, make sure to see Sara. She's back home here in the Bay, a screening at the 69th San Francisco International Film Festival, as I mentioned, Saturday at 12:30 p.m. at the Premier Theater. Also on Sunday at 4:45 p.m. at BAMFA as well. Sara, congrats on the film. Nicely done, and can't wait to talk about your next one.
Oh, thank you so much, Rick. Really appreciate you having me on.
Sure, no problem. And, I once had by the way, the First Lady of Iceland on my show. She's Canadian. I remember telling somebody about that, and they go, well, if she's Canadian, then she's can't be the First Lady of Iceland. I'm like, yeah, she married the Icelandic president, and they're like, ah. All right, let's go to a break. We have some open lines. Let's talk about the draft.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
Do you want to add a boost to your sex life this weekend? Do you want to make your partner and yourself happy? Then call our special hotline now. We'll sell you those little pills that work below the belt for less than $1 a pill and deliver your package in a few days, just in time for the weekend. Our pill delivers almost the same results as expensive pills for less than $1 a piece, and you don't need a prescription. And ask about their buy 3 get 3 free offer. What are you waiting for? Boost your sex life and have a great time now. Less than $1 a pill, discreet delivery in a few days, and a buy 3 get 3 free offer? Dial this number and save it now.
800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. That's 800-245-2751. Paid for by the Pharmacy Shop.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payment's interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-832-2816. 800-832-2816. 800-832-2816. That's 800-832-2816.
Come again? You know I don't speak Spanish. In English, please.
Rick Tittle beats his servants.
All right, hey, thanks for that, and welcome back to this show. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast, and now it's like a church in here. 1-800-878-PLAY. Not my kind of church, girl. You ever see Sam Kinison do stand-up? Pretty good, because he used to be a minister. Macklin Celebrini was on the Players Tribune. Remember, that was something that Derek Jeter and a few other guys invented, which was basically, instead of us being misquoted or having somebody ghostwrite or just say, hey, can you print this? Maybe we can, in long form, have something to say that won't be edited by somebody. And Macklin Celebrini went on the Players Tribune. He did a letter to the Sharks fans. And it is a long, long letter. Long letter. Like, if you printed it out, it would probably be at least like 6, 7 pages, 8 pages maybe. And obviously not going to read it. That'd be pretty horrifying radio. But it's just starting off, to paraphrase, saying thank you, everybody that had my back here in the Olympics. And it was hard to lose in Italy, but we came back here, and this is my home, and just really helped me out. And, you know, thanks to Joe Thornton, I got to live with him, and I know what he means to the Sharks, and how great is it to live with a Hall of Famer, and great guy. He was there. He called my name in Vegas when I got drafted, and, he goes, I keep hearing about the good old days with Marlowe and Vlasic and Pavelski and Couture. I want to get back to those days. He talked about moving down from British Columbia to the Bay Area 8 years ago when his dad started working with the Warriors, and he said he would go to practice, and he couldn't believe how tall Kevin Durant was. He said he came up to his knee. And he said he was a bit lonely, and he said the hockey was different. He said it's really hard to explain, but the way they played hockey in America was a little bit different. He said it took some time to adjust, but he just admired the Warriors so much, and Steph and Clay, and he was there for all those rings and, well, most of the rings. And, you know, he just talked about how they transformed the Bay. And he talked about when he was playing with the Chicago Steel in the juniors in January of 2023, the Warriors were at Chicago to play the Bulls, and that's the famous game, at least famous around these parts, where Steve Kerr and Draymond and a couple other guys went to the game, and he said, I couldn't believe that Coach Kerr and the Warriors were over at a USHL game. But he talked about the grind of 82 games, and he's just in awe of Steph and Dre and what they do. He said the little peeks into their world, their discipline routines, how they keep their bodies and minds in check. And he also said that was the same thing with Joe Thornton. But he said his favorite game of the year was the first win of the year, and starting off on a 6-game losing streak, and it was brutal. And he kept talking about tough breaks. And so they were at MSG against the Rangers, and the Sharks were up 3-1, and they went down 4-3. And he just looked around. He said, no one quit, no one checked out, and we found a way to win in OT. He said, Will with the beauty, one-timer, parenthetically, decent pass, too. Then he just talked about the energy. He talked about how Revo and Toffoli, it's Brian Reeves and Tyler Toffoli, the veteran impact those guys had on the team. And it's funny the way he writes, because he said, and if I can, before I get out of here, I just want to take a minute to shout out some of our young fans. He talked about the Sharks Foundation and visiting Kaiser Permanente in Santa Clara, pediatric cancer patients. I don't know how any person, I mean, bless the people who, how can you go to a pediatric cancer ward and not just cry your eyes out, right? But you got to put on big smiles, and, you know, you just think about how fired up any kid would be to see Macklin Celebrini walk into the room. He talked about this cool day where he went to an elementary school in San Jose, and they got to read to the kids. He said crayons and Capri Suns. But anyway, he's just very charming young man. I'll read you just the end here, a couple lines. We have a lot of work to do. We know that. But I just want to thank you all again for having my back the past few months. All the comments and support, it means so much. I hope I can pay you back with some playoff nights next season. We want the Shark Tank back. We want it rocking. I know we can make some more good old days. We got to make it happen. Otherwise, I'm going to be hearing from Joe. Sincerely, Macklin. And he's already gone on record saying that he wants to sign an extension and stay. And my question is, what's taking so long? Get it done. Get it done right now. You know, this guy is, first of all, he's everything you could ever dream of in a number one overall pick. Just the absolute amazing amount of talent. But on the other hand, he is just a good kid, and no one, he felt compelled to write that. Everybody already loves him in the Bay Area, hockey fans in general. He could get, and he has it a little bit, but he could get to a Steph Curry degree of fame, whereas people around the league will just have Celebrini jerseys and then even take that to the next level and become Sharks fans, because we saw that with Steph. I mean, every little kid the last decade plus, I don't care if you're in Atlanta or Boston or Dallas, Steph Curry's coming. Steph Curry's coming. Oh my gosh. We saw it here with Jordan. That was the big game of the year when Jordan came to town and the Bulls would beat the Warriors. That's just but we felt so privileged. Oh my gosh. Michael Jordan's in Oakland. There, my dad said, I go, what did you think? Because, you know, my dad was an Oakland Oaks fan. That's the team he grew up with. He used to take the cable car in Oakland. Yes, they had a cable car that would run down to Emeryville, to Oaks Park. And, you know, Casey Stengel and Billy Martin, Jackie Jensen, all these great Oaks. And when the PCL folded, when the Giants came, so my dad and my mom rooted for the Giants for 10 years because they were the only team in town. And then they're from Oakland, so the A's became their favorite team. But I grew up in a house where if the Giants were on and the A's weren't, the Giants were on TV, and I didn't give a damn, but my mom and dad cared about the Giants. This is probably why I don't hate the Giants. First of all, there's no reason to hate them, but second of all, it's just, I don't know, I just grew up with the Giants and the Niners. It's just if you're a sports fan in a two-team market, you're going to know about the other team. Anyway, but I remember I asked my dad, I go, what was it like when you heard that the Kansas City A's were moving? And he said the first thing I thought of was Mickey Mantle is going to be at the Coliseum. That was the last year of Mickey Mantle's career. But yeah, he's like, Mickey Mantle is going to play in Oakland. And that's how it used to be. So I just think about like Steph and now with Mac. And when the Sharks came in to the league in 91, kids all over hockey wanted Sharks stuff. And the reason I know that is because when Jonathan Cheechoo got drafted, they showed him as a little kid in his Sharks pajamas. When Logan Couture got drafted, they show him as a little kid wearing a Sharks hat. When Prince William, who's now the Prince of Wales, meaning he's first in line for the crown, if everything goes to plan, he will be King William, and then his son will be King Archibald. I'm not going to see King Archibald unless something happens to Wills. But I hope I get to see King William. When Wills and Harry, who now lives in L.A. and he's not a royal anymore, when they came to America and they went to Disneyland. And they were going on all these rides. And I'll never forget, even though he was like 10 years old, there's Prince William wearing a Sharks hat. San Jose Sharks. And I was like, yeah. Because you think about it, do you want this one that says, Bruins, and it's a wheel with a B in it? No, that's stupid. Why would I want a wheel with a B in it? How about this one with a shark biting a hockey stick? Yes, that's it. So now that has worn off. That wore off in the early 90s. But that was the cool team. And so then the Ducks were like, well, what if we name our movie after a Disney movie? And then the Raptors came in. What if we name our after Jurassic Park? Because everybody was like, it's all about selling crap to the kids. Well, what if we do that? So, yeah, that's going to happen. But Mac is now at the point where that has already started to happen. And being the leading scorer for the Canadian men's hockey team at the Olympics, being the guy when there was a penalty shot and the coach was like, hey, let the kid do it. Everybody wants to see the kid. And what did he do? He scored. And so he's everything you would ever dream of. You sign him. You give him whatever you want. I would give him 10 years. Give him a 10-year deal. And you know what? At the end of his 10-year deal, he's 29. At the end of a 10, they're not going to give him 10 years. He's not going to sign for 10 years. Can they get him to sign for 8? Maybe more realistic, 6? And then he'll be 25? 25 at the end of a 6-year deal. Do that right now. He wants to stay. And whatever you give him, he's worth every penny. And whatever you give him in 6 months, it's going to be a bargain. That's just the way sports works. So make him happy, because he already was worth it. And then he did 2 things. He said, I want to stay here long term. And then he writes like the most charming, and by the way, no bad grammar, no misspellings, no bad punctuation. That's important to me. So can you just sign him already? Thank you. I'm Rick Tittle. Come on back on Sports Byline USA.
What's that on that beat, ho?
I'm different, yeah, I'm different. I'm different, yeah, I'm different. I'm different, yeah, I'm different. Pull up to the scene with my ceiling missing. Pull up to the scene with my ceiling missing. Pull up to the scene with my ceiling missing. Pull up to the scene with my ceiling missing. Middle finger up to my competition.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere. Contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-853-8931. 800-853-8931. 800-853-8931. That's 800-853-8931.
If you're serious about investing in gold or silver, Allegiance Gold will give you an additional $5,000 in free gold to add to your portfolio. They can help you buy any amount of gold or silver,